and the meetings are live on the internet. So, for if anyone doesn't wish to be live, um, I would just tell you to probably take a chair and sit in the other room so you could still hear the meeting, but you're not recorded. So, with that being said, I'd like to let everybody know when they're being recorded, if and when. So, so my name is Daniel Barber, and I am the chair for the Committee for Public and Supportive Housing.
Dana Eldon, President of St. Mary's Park Houses Resident Council.
Ramona, founder of Safe Section 9 and tenant at Mitchell Houses, member of the committee.
Rosa Pinedo, tenant association president for More Houses.
And also a board member.
And also a board member.
The new title got to carry
Yes,
with you, right?
right.
Cassandra Boland, resident association president for Melrose Houses.
Patricia Simpson, chair president for Patterson Houses, board member.
Claudia Blanco, community researcher.
Neighborhood business.
Principal Jameson, resident local houses.
Anthony Jordan, district manager to the board. Good evening, Mr. Chair, invited guests, new family members. Welcome to the new session of the Bronx Community Board 1, getting back into session. I'm also joined by my colleague, Stephen Palmer, who's serving as our community coordinator. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, we're being recorded live on our YouTube page.
So new business, I see Eileen Level, exhibitor, Raising Liberty Square documentary. Hello.
So you can stand up and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Eileen, and I'm the founder of Polyfo Cinema. Thank you so much to the Community Board 1 for inviting me to screen this. I see some familiar faces in here. It's such a pleasure to meet Ramona in the flesh. I feel like I'm meeting like unreal. She actually helped me build my first flyer when I was trying to show this film in Brooklyn, which is really where I'm based out of, and then later on Queens, and now in the Bronx. But thank you so much for all the support and just guiding in terms, because you've been working with the Raising Liberty Square team for quite some time. So it was great to have that support from somebody who just does so much work for the community. But I'm here tonight because I was reached out to bring this film here to all of you. And I'm really excited to show it to all of you and to stand back and hear the discussion and just learn about what's happening in the Bronx, because I'm sure it's not that different from what's happening in other boroughs. So thank you for having me.
The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. So just a little bit more about Polyfo Cinema. So I'm half Haitian, and so Polyfo means to speak up. It's to amplify your voice. And I'm very passionate about the movie-going experience. And I'm very specifically trying to advocate for bringing movie theaters back to cinema deserts. So there's a plethora of problems happening in New York City, but movie-going is very important because it brings us together. Like right now,
We can stop if you want to. This is just to the chair and set up my note and say we're gonna stop. But yeah, the whole film.
The vehicle of cinema. And that's really my goal.
Is it a good film?
I learned so much about NYCHA and Section 8 and Section 9 through cinema and watching it with strangers I've never known before. And that's just really what I'm fighting for. Without cinema, we really lose a piece of humanity if we're not engaged in this way. So I'm really happy to be with you all. I'm going to play the film. For those of you that don't know much about Raising Liberty Square, the documentary film has been on tour for quite some time. The filmmaker Katja Essen, she was inspired to make this film because she learned that one of the oldest segregated public housing developments was going to be torn down. And as she got to know the community members a little bit more, she learned the term climate gentrification. And you'll learn more about that in this film. And when she learned about that term from residents in the community that she was learning more about, it changed the way and the shape this film was going to become, which is why we have Raising Liberty Square today. I have some notes about what happened to the subject in this film, and I'll share that at the end if you're interested, but I'll go ahead and play it. Thank you for having me.
You want snack? Snack.
I want it bad.
There's like bananas,
I have my own
apples.
copy at home, so
So,
took it right off of channel 13. It's
Smart.
deep.
Yeah, it's a good teaching
It's
tool.
deep. It really is. Especially the last 5 minutes.
At one point, they wanted to do the short one, and I was like, nah.
Maybe I'll go get some chicken. Some chicken.
Let's connect it.
Can
Yeah.
you like that up in here?
It's right behind it.
Let me find it. Yeah, watching Netflix and fly.
What? What's that? Somebody put that there.
I just got rid of my Netflix. I don't have enough time to watch TV. I kept my Prime though, of course, and
She
Paramount.
said make time for Netflix.
What you heard?
Nah,
So
I ain't got
I'm
time.
a huge fan of like live TV. I like to see things when they're scheduled and they're on.
They got some live stuff.
And I watch a movie like Friday, Saturday.
I scan all the stuff for the next week on Fridays.
Yeah.
So this way I can take whatever I want to watch.
Like I don't do things Thursday nights because
It's
The
like one of
Shondaland.
these things on Friday night.
it's a lot going on my TV.
It's chemo, popcorn, and a glass of wine.
Yeah. You gotta set that care space.
No, it's the other one. It's the other one, Steven.
60-inch TVs.
It's the other one. You got to connect to the other screen. So if you go back, it's connecting to yeah, that right down there. No,
So
yeah,
you on the list to get it
yeah,
again.
no, yeah, that one. It should connect to the last. It's an HDMI.
Just have to come pick it up.
Carry it on
That's
my
weird.
back.
Can you just close it out and start again? Close out from your
And they're
screen.
all smart.
Because I don't know why is your screen not because you're showing your mouse, but it's not showing anything else.
I love me Samsung.
Yeah, that's my office.
Everything in the house is Samsung, including cell phones.
What happened? It was. Did you change anything?
That's my stove in my office. It's electric. I can control this off the Wi-Fi.
Oh, I like that.
Samsung. The stove, the refrigerator, the TV.
Okay. All right. I'm not much of a cook anymore. I don't cook too much anymore. The blessing of eating out.
The oven's a deep fryer.
Oh, now that's what I need. I need a deep fryer.
Not a deep
An
fryer.
air fryer.
Air fryer. The oven's
I need an air
fryer.
fryer. I was trying to get my kids to get me one for my birthday, but they're too damn cheap.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, while we get this set up, I'm going to do district needs statement. Can I move to that? Do we have your approval? Thank you. So, I'm going to talk about the district needs statement until we get the video set up. So, of course, all of you know that the community board is now going under something called district needs statements, where we as a community start making determinations on what is needed in our community. Each of our committees are going to be working together with the chair of that committee to point out what you see that you need in the community for in your specific area and report it back. So everything like as simple light posts to roads being repaved, to adding more youth centers, more police, less police, more green space like parks and so on. It's our time for the community board to start making our recommendations in the budget to the mayor and to the borough president to be passed, and setting what is called budget priorities for district needs assessment. Right. So I have a QR code, which is a simple thing that most people can scan and on your own and determine on what we are, what the community board needs to be focusing on. It asks simple questions like where you're from, what community board that you're with, what neighborhoods you want to talk about. Is it parks? Is it schools? Is it playgrounds? Is it sanitation needs? Is it again, like I said, more lighting in certain areas, affordable housing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the time where we start to make those needs assessments and priorities for the community board. And that way we tell the city council, the mayor, and the borough president about what is our priority for our community. several things that come into play when that happened. We have gotten a playground put in PS 65 school. We have gotten the multi-million dollars that was invested some time ago in St. Mary's Park. Now we know there's a big issue about harm reduction and syringe in the street, open issues with open drug use, more youth centers. NYCHA has an unbelievable, amazing capital improvement that is needed for them. There's a lot of ideas. So if you have ideas of what you think that our community needs, and think about it, the community board covers the largest portfolio of public housing than any other community board in the Bronx. For Mott Haven, Port Morris, Melrose, please make sure you share those needs with the chair or with our office at bx01 at cb.nysc.gov. If you have the agenda, the email is right on top of the agenda on the letterhead, and so you can email those things. And then what happens is this assessment, these needs, has to be first passed by the full board. So it goes from committee to the full board, and then the full board votes, and it's due at the end of October. But it has to pass out of the committee first to go to it. We can name as many priorities as possible. Each committee then gets 3 top priorities that out of the numerous amount of priorities that come about. So we are this is an exciting process, but it's a real serious process because you say what closed mouth don't get fed. So if you ask not, have not, you go have a lot of other sayings that we knew growing up so I am I'm excited that we get to announce this period, Mr. Chairman. So it's about a little rough, almost about a month and some change that we have this conversation. But we were definitely excited to make sure that we can make this process forward. So I'm going to pause because I know that we're ready for the movie. But I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. When you after this meeting, we can talk about it. Okay. It's all over when you walk in the building, you go say there's a survey right outside and paper. However, we can talk about it several different ways. Okay? All right. Yep.
When I was a child, my grandfather always would say, they're going to come take Liberty City because blood. When they built Miami, they wanted it to be this beachfront paradise. But the people of color were forced through the middle of the city. This was the place nobody wanted to live, other than the people who were forced to live here. And now they want it.
The movies.
Good morning. Hey, baby. everyone. Hi. Come on up. I'm finding out right now that they're gonna tear everything down, including the school. I put on a good front for my staff, and I put on a good front for my children, but I have to go sleep at night. What would happen to us if we do lose the place? I got a big mouth. I just gotta have a big mouth. I started off in Liberty Square in 2005.
We are students at the Vega Learning Center and Liberty City.
We are a school and after-school program funded by grants. A lot of these kids didn't make it in public schools. The teacher said don't take their time. When they come here, we make sure we got everything they need.
I am born and raised in this community. This is my home. Although this community gets a bad rap, that's what this place has always been. A project like this I get excited about, because now we're talking about creating a new community. Liberty Square is a 100% public housing community, and we're creating a mixed income community where you have public housing units, affordable housing units, and market rate units all in the same development. Generations of family that grew up in this particular site. It's understandable that folks are, they have some kind of emotional attachment to this place. It's for better or worse, somewhat of a staple in this community, right? So it's bittersweet, and I get that.
This place was paradise for us.
Cherries and mulberries and almonds and guavas and mangoes and coconut trees. That was like a paradise unexplored. We're talking mid-50s.
Your neighborhood was your playground. Your front porch, the clotheslines. And that was the thing on Saturday. Everyone would wash clothes and then you would hang them out on the line. I used to live right there at 1209 off of 64th Street. That was my bedroom window right there. This is me in front of the mango tree. Mom always planted, all of this was trees, and she always planted trees and flowers wherever she was.
It was a lovely night. We was like one big family. You can come in my mama's house in the evening, and I can tell you something, we never had to keep her to the house.
Had anybody and everybody being able to discipline. You heard of that village?
Yeah.
We had that village back then.
Yeah, village.
There was always a sense of an intact community. Those were golden days, golden days.
The first public housing built for Black people, but segregated. And now it's just run down. Something needs to be done. But the question is, who is it really for?
We have the ability to take something that is very, very challenged and make it into something that is going to be exceptional.
this is not about housing. Our vision is to have economic development. There's a lot of other interested developers now trying to buy properties and develop, which is what we wanted. The whole point was that Liberty Square would serve as the catalyst for further redevelopment of Liberty City and have a spillover effect that changed the whole neighborhood. Good evening. My name's Albert Milo. I'm the principal at Related Urban. This is the next step in the process. On the top, you'll see what's block 1, block 4, and block 7. Block 1 is the one that you see already under construction. Block 4 and block 7 will be the same. It will be 3-story residential units. What we're discussing today is the 6 southern blocks. We talked about bringing a national grocery store, and we talked about bringing commercial activity. This is a shot of one of the commercial buildings, which is 5 to 8 stories. That's another use as mixed use with commercial on the bottom. And we're starting to plan the renovation of this facility here, which is the Historic Community Center, which is the only building within Liberty Square that will remain. Okay?
Oh, yeah, one question. All the people I see that are talking, that are planning this, don't live in this community. That's what's happening all over Black communities in this county. This is our community. Why are you saying what it's going to be? Why are there no people that look like me? That little affordable housing slogan that you have, that's just a systematic way of removing the Black people from this community.
And that's what they do. They put somebody that looks like you at the front.
I'm still kicking the street
That
about losing public housing to the private sector.
I'm a resident here at Liberty Square. I'm very concerned. I really don't care about a shopping area. We want our history to continue. We don't want our history to stop. Because y'all tear down Liberty Square. I want to live right here in my community where I was raised in. I want to raise my kids in my community so they can be a part of my history.
I get the anxiety, I get the fear. Here we are, handing over the keys to our Black community. But that's far from the truth. The whole idea is to retain those that are already there.
Anthony, can you put Steven's email so I can send him something to print that goes along with the phone?
To avoid displacement. You know, there were a number of vacancies on site that could allow us to simply move folks around as opposed to having to raise the entire property and kind of leave everyone to find somewhere to relocate.
Gracias.
She's emailing you so much wants to print 12 copies of this.
Miami is one of the hottest, real estate markets, not only in the United States, but in the world. When I became the mayor, I knew about Liberty Square and Liberty City and the conditions that were there. Let's see if we can take, a lot of money and then incentivize private development, and actually make a big change. One of the things about me is that, when I make a promise, I'm going to keep it. We thought we were going to have to displace them for a while, but now we have a methodology where actually they're just moved around inside the project itself. Nobody's going to get moved out. Everybody's going to be able to enjoy a new, Liberty Square. We're going to keep our promises. We're going to keep our promises, and also the developer. You're going to keep your promise.
Remember those days? At the foot.
Mm,
Grandma house, everybody was there.
that's right. I think I watched this about 4 times. Each time I watch it, I get mad at it. So I stop watching. I love the line he said, this is not about housing.
Mm-hmm.
This is about economic stability.
Exactly.
Single mother of 7.
Oh, I mean, she got like 6 or 7 kids.
No, this is 12. My dream for a new place is basically a secure area. Somewhere where I can send my kids outside and not have to worry about if something happens. We'll be moving in the new year soon, hopefully soon. What color you want on? Blue. And what else? Just blue? You don't want the gray? You want the whole thing gray?
Yes.
Gray and what else? I need to know so I can start doing stuff. Gray and gold. Joshua's excited to have a new building. He want to go to himself. If you live somewhere nicer, you want to be a different person. My rule with all of my children is you have to one up your mom. I want all of them to go to college and finish. Move on with their life.
I need you guys to stand together. Okay, this is for your graduation, so I suggest you get together. Take a lot of time out.
We started off wanting to deal with kids before they even committed crimes. We wanted to stop them before they got to that point.
I can't see you after you come over there.
We want to be there for those kids until they graduate.
All right,
Those-
playtime is out.
I like this.
So I do what I do.
All right, attention. Josh, you gonna present it, you understand? All right, attention. Come right back. If you don't get that out your pocket, it's going to my house. What that is in your pocket? Joshua, what that is in your pocket? That's your hair brush? That's the way you keep your word? I've been noticing your hair looking good lately, all right? I've been noticing. Let's do it again. Say it with authority. Make us proud. We are a generation of proud leaders. That's it. So we'll do the opening like that. Follow Joshua.
Y'all did an excellent job. We went from 63 kids to 90 children. We are at full capacity. We feed our children 3 times a day. I don't have enough snacks for everybody sometimes, so I go to the churches or I just go to the store and buy it. What happened to you?
Can you try to eat it for me today? Do you have hamburgers? Your stomach is hurting?
Okay, we're gonna see what's going on with that.
You gonna try?
He's upset. Come here. Come here. Go see Miss Matt. We're gonna put this aside. Somebody messaged you. Tell us what's wrong. Who? What's wrong? I know you're upset about something. We have a lot of issues, you know. We're in the distress area. I could pull each kid out of there. Who has heard a gun? Everybody raised their hand. Who has had somebody die in their family? Everybody had from a gun. It's gonna be all right, okay? What do you think he's gonna try? Go get your food. The developers promised me a brand new space. Just hope they'll keep their promise. At Liberty City, you can see everything is changing. If you look to the right-hand side, I asked about this land, which went a couple of years ago for maybe maybe $15,000. I asked them how much they wanted for it. They said they wanted $500,000. You know, on main streets like this, they want $400,000 just for the ground. I still live in Liberty City, and they called me the other day, and they was asking me that I want to sell my home. I'm like, no, I do not want to sell my home. What price do you want to get? I'm like, I just told you I don't want to sell my home. So they know what's getting ready to happen over here. I have a problem with them tearing down Liberty Square. Liberty Square is the heart. And when you destroy the heart, you destroy this community. You destroy the people. You're not going to see people that look like me stand in these projects.
This is like a really like impactful image for a lot of folks, right? Just to kind of see the two sides, what it is, and what's to come. It gets me excited about what's coming actually. When they start seeing like around it, popping new colors all around this whole space, I think it's a huge difference. I think folks are really starting to believe that there's a change coming to this area for the better. Being low income shouldn't bar you from experiencing like a higher quality of life. Although I lived in the city growing up, my mother was really adamant, so her thing was once to expose me to different opportunities. Yeah, you literally can see downtown Miami. So middle school to high school, I went in Post-Town, I got a chance to just see different things, meet different people, understand that different cultures. And in our community, I had friends that began to get into different troubles, and my father, he was, for lack of better words, a street pharmacist. And so most of my life, my dad was a dealer turned user turned abuser, and was essentially just in and out of the prison system. And it was partly because of the decisions she made, in my opinion. That wasn't my life.
You want to put those muscles to it? I'm not opposing manual labor.
Okay, heavy.
Don't let it pull the ball. Don't let it bring it out.
That's one of the
first
models.
Working at various nonprofit organizations.
But it got to be that in case the wind blows.
Work with at-risk youth coming out of the detention centers. Every time I see these kids that look like me and remind me of myself playing in the yard back in the day, I get why we're doing it, to create this new space, this clean, safe space that folks can have pride and dignity in, and to provide folks better quality of life.
Yes. Okay, this is your first time? Yes. Second time? Yes. Y'all like it the first time? Yes.
What's up, ladies?
Yes. You stop.
I have a huge interest in real estate development. And I've always been a strong believer of, you build it, it will come. You create beautiful, peaceful spaces. It can be transformative for communities at large.
Yeah. Me and Aaron grew up in the same church in Liberty City.
Our grandmothers are friends. I told you, you will make sure the people of Liberty City actually get what they need from this project. You being hands-on, you being inside. At the same time, I am afraid for our larger community. I'm from Liberty City. Because they're redeveloping Liberty Square, this place is going to be completely different. Hey everybody! For those who don't know me, I'm Valencia Dunder. Everybody calls me V. I am not a scientist, okay? I may be deemed like the hood environmentalist. People think that climate change or environmental things is not like a black people's issue. But one thing I learned about climate, it affects us in the worst way. This is our ocean. This is our regular ocean, right? And then these are the glaciers. And what's happening is they're melting. You see? And it's going over and it's going over. And that's what's happening to the sea. And Miami is getting affected by this in the worst way. Miami is ground zero for sea level rise in the world. Scientists say that we can expect around 6 feet of water over the next few decades. Parts of Miami Beach is at 0 feet above sea level, but Liberty City sits on a ridge, 12 feet above sea level. Because of climate change and sea level rise, people are moving into our community and shifting people out.
As a child, I experienced
running.
in the square,
Wow.
The water ran.
the storm passed, the iPad, we were out in the yard playing no water. We can see why they want our community.
That's right. So climate gentrification is happening. It's a huge thing, and it affects a lot of us, right? Some facts about Miami. Founded July 28, 1896. City planners didn't know how to build on this land, so they had to go to the Caribbean islands and get people to come over here to actually build it. I know we hear about it in America that black people build America, but literally, black people built Miami. However, the people of color they brought here to build the city was forced to the center of the city. They wanted to keep us from the beach. The only place the black community could live during segregation was Color Town, near the downtown area. In the 1930s, they pushed us further inland. City planners built Liberty Square outside of the city limits, which left residents without political representation for decades. They built it with this promise of a better housing, the same type of promises they are making today. So y'all know the real reason they pushed us out of downtown? Because they wanted to expand the white business district. There was a hidden motive then, and there's a hidden motive now.
This is valuable property.
Black man don't have a chance.
Urban renewal.
Great.
Urban renewal.
I mean, the reason we joined
It's
or
not
started the partnership is because
fact
of the native
for
enforcement at Chelsea.
to disguise the
So
whole
we've been doing
purpose
screenings
of this
around
regentrification issue.
until like elected officials in the
One of the
community board.
excuses that they had, they said it was so
And then
high
we do the
flying,
bingo
let's
when we
tear
go
it
into the
down.
senior centers. I don't
Okay, what's going on
I don't
over here?
engage.
This is how our neighborhood is every day.
And that's a good thing for
You
you.
know, they got a young black man
Yeah,
out
I
here.
try to steer clear of him.
He's running from
The car's not so, he looks like a freaking kid. Jesus.
He
And this is how they get their
Since
life
those
on,
right
by
there,
taking joy rides and stuff.
He's
It's
gonna, let me
ridiculous.
tell you,
he's problematic as
Oh,
well.
man, look at these cars. Oh,
he
my
was
man.
voted the number one.
You gotta be careful if the police, they will hit your car. Look at that. They go another life. They go, look, this don't make no sense.
They were praising him.
Look at this, 2 more for the same child.
He's not a cop. No, he's about making some money.
Yeah, they could be saving lives somewhere. 2 more for the same child. Look at it. They go another one. This ain't no joke.
Yeah, they gave him
Our thing is not to be
He's
a
super
child
shady.
line. We want to make sure they didn't
I
have to do the
just
same
He
stuff
got a
that
lot
we
of shit
had.
up his sleeve.
in Crespo.
Yeah.
I've been abused. I was acting out at school. I'm willing to fight teachers.
So I
Didn't
mean,
want
I
nobody to
tried
know I couldn't
with
read
Salamanca,
that
and I
well.
tried with
And that's one of the reasons why my heart
Amanda
goes out.
Flores.
I'm not
Her
disconnected
office
from
was
these
not
kids. I
interested in
used to
public
be one of
housing.
these kids. Hey, mama. Hey,
So
what do you want?
I don't waste my time.
You been good? Come on. Very good. I get on my staff. You better love these children. You need
Being
to ask
privatized
them
at
what's
rapid.
wrong. They be like, we calling these kids too much.
We have formal
I want
complaints
them.
at HUD
They deserve it.
for like what's that development? Soundview. There's claims of like abuse of power that we've submitted to HUD.
So this is where we want to have the
refusal of
graduation.
transfers, which is illegal.
The podium
Conversion.
here on the stage.
There's a lot of shit
Is
in
this
this
gorgeous?
district. She don't give a fuck.
Oh, Atlanta. The history in this place. Wow.
Sounds good.
I want my kids to be inspired.
Talking about
At the Hampton House, you had
and
renowned musicians with the Culture Center of Miami for Black people at that time. Same Hampton House, I used to go in food for 25 cents.
Black stars
They're
were allowed to
slated.
perform in Miami Beach hotels.
Right? Yeah.
But because of segregation, they were not
And
allowed to
Sac
stay there. So they came here.
Get
We were there with pride. Everybody wanted to come. They saw how beautiful it was. John the Pilot celebrated his world championship. Malcolm X came here. Dr. King came here. It was a very important place for civil rights.
Lansing, yeah.
There's so much
But
that I bring
Amanda
here.
didn't want to host, didn't want to
And I
meet,
need my kids to know
didn't
that
even want to
history and
support
that
the
legacy.
tenant through constituent services for her complaints. So I went straight to her.
How y'all doing? I'm gonna be y'all neighbors.
Oh.
Thank you. So this is my home.
I put it in
right here in
writing.
Liberty City.
Okay, that's what I say. Yeah, that's what.
Hurricane impact
In
window installation, the whole entire thing. It's different ways you can fight gentrification. I know I'm an advocate and I do policy and I try to fight for other people's affordable housing. But I thought one of the biggest weapons was for me to buy my own house in the neighborhood, in the areas that are around the housing projects, like the homes. The rents are going up and people are being displaced in those areas too. And we're starting to see families literally being forced out of a place and have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. Here in Miami, so many of our immigrant populations are climate refugees already. And we're creating more climate refugees because of climate gentrification. I've been evicted before and I was once homeless. So I know what it feels like. I think God and the ancestors put me in situations just for me to learn. It seemed as if like I was forced into homelessness to know how to better serve people. Everything is in this van. It's clothes, it's bags of clothes. I need all volunteers, please. We're starting to see an increase on the number of people we have to serve out here. About 2 years ago, we get enough food for about 125 people. Right now, we pushing 250 people at a location. Well, we're gonna have teams that's gonna go to 2 other locations. What are you actually doing to redevelop and restore these communities? You're dealing with folks who are dealing with PTSD and daily trauma and their sense of community. When you're doing the development, you have to think about and prepare and create resources and training and opportunities that embody all of that. when it comes to generational property. We've seen putting new buildings or bringing in people who make a little bit more money does not fix that.
Valencia knows my heart. She knows my dedication to this area. I'm a first of this mixed income development to potentially reverse some of the issues that have existed for decades. But everyone's not going to see it that way.
I say it's a start. It's not enough, but I see movement, progress. I see change. I want our community to have the experience of living in a spanking brand new apartment with new appliances and freshly painted walls and doors.
You want them to have something of quality, and you want them to feel and know that they're worthy of that.
And it was like that back in Liberty Square.
Those buildings were a good foundation for our growth and development. But we knew that wasn't all that was to it. You know, we knew that we had a bigger responsibility. The focus was always, you do your best, you go to school, you get good grades, because you are going to college. Much emphasis and time was spent in what you could do, not what existed that was trying to prohibit you from achieving certain things.
We sometimes choose to forget that Liberty Square once had this wall that separated the Black community from the white community, creating this segregated space where ultimately opportunities would be limited.
First, you remember the wall, don't you? This was at least 5.5 to 6 feet tall. Yeah. A portion of it is still. A portion of it is way low.
My brother was taller than I. And here it is, and it's like at my waist. And imagine he was like a 6 footer and hit him at his shoulder. In the 60s, integration happened. Blacks, like teachers and professionals, they had started moving across the wall into Liberty City. The neighborhood was all white. They started complaining, and it was white flight, so they were scattering like flies.
Post-white flight, there was a lack of investment by the city in the larger Liberty City area began to take a turn for the worse. The choice by the local housing authorities to develop more public housing in close proximity of Liberty Square led to some of those affluent or middle-class Black families to leave this community. There was a decline in services by local governments mismanaging public housing sites, lack of investment in social services, lack of support for those that were truly in need. All this created a further concentration of poverty. With that concentration of poverty comes a host of other issues. The sense of disempowerment, folks being disenfranchised. And you can argue that it's that which boiled up and exploded into the Miami riots of 1980.
Yes. I appreciate you.
The community was kind of put like under martial law. They closed up Miami Beach, they put the bridge up. When you're angry and you're restricted, the only place you have to ventilate is where you currently are. Unfortunately, that led to the destruction of our community. It was not the best of times, but But, you know, that was the result of many injustices and just neglect.
After the riots, there was nothing. Nothing.
Then over the years, the drugs seep in, crime seep in.
Got so bad for them kids were being killed. Like every day. People had to stay where they was and deal with it.
Violent weekend in Liberty City after shots rang out. A group of people there. 4 people shot and all 2 of them died.
3 of the 4 people who were shot yesterday afternoon made it here to the hospital. Writers found us that there was second victim died here, and it happens there are still 2 people deceased.
Well, first time you heard something, because I don't remember. Was it the last one about Alice's house that scared you? So the first when you first moved in, and you had to get used to the shooting.
She gonna hook up. She got the
You saw it coming, right?
My shooting is.
She said, take no shit.
This should have been the first time Joshua was scared of the shooting. He went to the point of color. My chest is tightened up real bad. So he came in the house, he locked the door, he locked the door, he heard shooting. Somebody died in front of us.
I know you just all leave everything.
The trucker want to go lay down.
Everybody knows my name. You want to leave? You want?
Everybody on my block is like my family.
Them were the girls and other ones.
They watch my children.
Where's my baby?
When I feel funny, y'all gotta come in the house. But when people go to arguing and fussing and fighting and yelling, it's time to come in the house. When the police are riding around heavy, it's time to come in the house. This is what we have to deal with. It's hard.
When you don't have a socioeconomic diversity, like, unfortunately for those in Liberty Square, where everyone's essentially poor, and that's not motivating. Allowing kids to see the influx of middle income earners, maybe someone a higher end, is so important. But it needs to get done the right way. We all went into this situation understanding like what just happened years ago, 3/4 of the mile northwest of it, with Scott Carver.
I know about that. I had an aunt and cousins lived over there. What happened to Scott projects over there will not be repeated at Liberty Square.
Scott Carver was 100% public housing transformed into a mixed-income community by private development. This site was completely razed, and essentially during the time of demolition and reconstruction, there were about over 1,000 Section 8 vouchers given out, and families had to fend for themselves to find somewhere to relocate.
No one can get city facts. Nobody can go.
With Section 8 on the private market, a private landlord can raise rents. So worst case scenario was that folks could face eviction, potentially in the homeless. Another issue is that some folks were considered to be not in good standing. Whatever that definition was at the time, it prevented them from being able to come back. So a lot of those residents that did leave never made their way back into Scott Carver.
Move people out, they can come back. They don't tell you what good standing means until you move out. You gotta be clean. Nobody in your family got any kind of record or anything else. You can't go back. That's one of the cool agonies of the whole thing. Once we get down there, we ain't worried about coming back.
I do live here, but it's a painful memory for the community, given the fact that a lot of families were torn apart and displaced. With Liberty Square, I can't let it happen that way.
His message is contradictory.
As this is happening, he's coming to terms with the reality of the project.
Little by little, you'll see that he's.
So when we did the
just
New
being
York
used.
screening and launched it for like New York because they were too afraid to play it in Miami, he came up and talked about that.
It's really sad when you think about his position, because the way he left at the end of this was heartbreaking. I mean, he was tearing. He was
It's
crying.
bad. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, he was used and abused in the worst way.
Somehow or another, Mr. Milo, the plans changed. When did the Section 8 vouchers come up? That was never part of the original
There we
plan.
go.
You get the Section 8 house, you stay there for a year or so, and if they decide they want to raise the rent, kick you out, what are you going to do? You think you're going to be able to call Milo and ask him for the apartment? You think you're going to be able to call Milo and come back in?
Getting hot.
See, it's not just us. It's public housing everywhere.
Destruction.
all
We're
round
going to destroy it.
every city.
We all got the same story.
That's black and brown.
At the end of the day,
That's why we're so mad.
we have the same story.
You go to Stony Brook and public housing people just like us.
Buffalo, West Buffalo,
Everywhere.
all mad.
We're all mad. Rightfully so.
Everybody mad.
Fix it up, paint it, put the appliances and finishes, make it
So
nice.
New Orleans?
Ready to do it elsewhere. I want to ask you, but it's where.
You really like New Orleans and ways?
The Section 8 Miami-Dade housing choice stuff. We're gonna go ahead and pay first and last month's rent. After that first year, if a landlord now wants to raise the rent, they can raise the rent. But now you're gonna be dealing with
You saw the
private
news on
owners,
Jay-Z
not
today?
public housing.
He was
You might
willing
have
to
to
pay
pay
the tenant
water,
organizer.
gas,
Was organizing events
but
for
we're gonna
casino
pay for
in
your
Times
move,
Square.
and if you wanna comply, pay for your expenses to come
He
up.
offered him $20,000 a month to start fighting against the casino. The documents were leaked today. He coming down next.
And these people became homeless. So the only problem to go back is if there's a violation, so if you're evicted, then that would be the only problem that you wouldn't be able to.
Listen, what I say on record, I say
You
it.
guys have, first, we're gonna go ahead.
That's why I always get in trouble.
Your security
You
deposit,
can, but I can't.
first and last month's rent. That's something that is not usual
I don't hold
for
it
the
as a
Section 8
position.
program.
The curveball is now vouchers out there.
So did I. They still have
And
me.
this is not Aaron speaking on behalf of Related Urgent. This is Aaron speaking as a resident of Liberty City, a lifelong resident. What I would hate to see happen, folks flee the area, never make
Jay-Z's
their way
next.
back
We
in,
know this.
and then the cultural fabric of Liberty City is someone else.
All of a sudden you find this money to do vouchers. The excuse that they gave was violence. How convenient. It's a tactic. They want to put that bug in your ear. Well, you get this voucher right now, you good. You ain't got to sit around and wait. You ain't got to be moved from here to there, move back over there, and wait this much longer for your apartment to be built. They don't have to deal with you guys as exactly. And then once they give out all the vouchers and all us is gone, they're gonna make money and turn it to profit now.
We're literally being phased out. They got a way of doing it. We're not sure that the people are coming back in there. Now, there's no guarantee.
Can't qualify.
What can I tell you? That's what it's not.
The project
It was all black. But now they want to spread us out. They want to put some down south. They want to put some up north.
You know, you're taking a lot of our people and putting them in another district. So therefore, like you said, that's going to break up the black representation.
We don't have no more power. No more.
So I'm going to look into taking the voucher and vouchering out because I'm getting feelings that something's going to happen around here. It's summertime, and there's no school and there's no program. So what you do? There's nothing to do. You just run around and get in trouble. That little age is one. It's so easy for you to get in trouble.
They out there doing whatever they feel they're grown enough to do. Little boys, because their fathers step out, they have to step up because mama need help. Joshua, I know that's how he feels. And I don't want to take that temptation.
What's wrong with you, young people? Joshua, I know your face. I carried you for 10 months. You're not going to tell me. Say something. I have to take them away from this trauma.
I want to stay out there 100%. I don't know what's going to happen.
So the voucher you got is going to be good for how long?
Until they reopen.
You believe that?
It's in the paperwork. Remember, I read.
I think it's gonna be people that look like you and me is not gonna be able to move back in at the door.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay, let me just say this here. A lot of
you first and foremost, you cannot go over what's in that contract.
So let me tell you something. Let me tell you about the contract. They promised mega things that we never got. We can't even get a meeting with the people that made all the promises. That's why I'm asking you, how you know they're gonna keep their word?
It's in the contract.
The contract don't mean nothing to these people.
Exactly.
You can do what you want to do. You can say what you want to say. As long as that stuff is in the contract, I can go back and pull this contract up in public record.
She handled that baby real hard.
I don't want my children to be around this summertime. So I already see what's coming. It's time to go.
I'll tell you this, Samantha. I commend you because you are as a mother that's taking care of your children. You know the cost of living is going up in Miami. This ain't no joke. A one-bedroom apartment is like $1,200. 14. You already know what this is. This ain't no joke right here in my daycare.
When I realized how many folks are taking vouchers, I was in complete shock. Just quick updates, Miami
They saw that Section 8.
secure temporary vouchers for folks that have decisions to move off-site should they choose to. Just have a question.
I was told that 60 to 70% of the residents have accepted the Section 8 option. When did this happen? Who authorized it? Why who presented the government pony show in such a way that the residents think that Section 8 is better than staying and getting keys to a brand new apartment?
Williams, can I respond?
Okay, so that's that.
You know, you and Ms. Williams have a pretty, I would say, decent relationship to where you can call me and talk to me about these things as opposed to.
No.
Let me, can I at least
Anthony needs to come watch this.
I am concerned someone moved into a nice brand new house and the apartment may not be so attractive to them anymore.
Mhm.
I can't coach them to stay here though. Listen, I am not just from Liberty City, I'm still a resident of Liberty City. I love this place and I would love for Liberty City to retain this idea. So I personally stress this as much as I can. But on the flip side of that, if someone comes to you and says, I'm just terrified for my children. I'm tired of waking up with roaches and rats in my apartment. Aaron, I hear you, but I'm going to take it out because it's the best move for me. Look, I'll continue to scale the rehab units as much as I can.
Right, but Aaron, who's gonna follow up with these residents? Whose job is it gonna be to contact these residents when that year or two, or when the money is up and it's time? Who's gonna be keeping track of the Liberty Square residents that exit and leave and go elsewhere?
Actually, I believe we'll probably discuss that very issue.
So this is an opportunity, not just between me and you, Aaron, but for everybody to know what's going on.
I look at the people that were educated. I'm talking about the related group as a white firm that came in here and took a whole black community. So y'all carried out the devil's work. We say, first of all, I did. Y'all carried out the devil's work.
That's Herman right there.
Removing our people. All of it.
Doing God's work in his own way.
Yeah. Selling y'all to eat. So they're going to eat this way.
Concern is a concern, which is a valid one. And if the concern is folks leaving the area, then I would say maybe you should be talking to residents about taking the option to stay on site versus staying out. I can't do that. Okay, so let me explain. So you asked me for a process. You laid that out already, bro. Let me respond to you. I believe concentrated poverty does enough. This is the person's choice.
That's been disproven.
Right? Like I was
It's been disproven that concentrated poverty harms people of color. Gentrification actually contributes more to the decline and the lessening of opportunities for people to experience gentrification.
Yeah, homeboy, he's transforming into somebody else now.
I question why I was here for some time. Every night we have one of those community engagement meetings, I found myself on a phone call with a friend or family member just trying to wrap my head around it all. And really asking myself, did I do the wrong thing?
He's token.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they do. They put
I've
somebody
heard everything from, Aaron, you just here to take a check every 2 weeks. You're a house nigga, something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got a message from a woman that I've known for years. She's like, you are a real Uncle Tom nigga. And she's like, that's right, I said it. And I just couldn't believe what I was reading.
No good.
They love some balloons, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to phase 1 of the new Liberty Square.
Because I was very angry. Just a few minutes more it's sad.
During phase 1 construction, there has not, and I repeat, not,
So a lot to go.
been any displacement of a single public housing resident. We kept our promise. This transformative project will bring extensive community benefits to this neighborhood. I would like to congratulate our private sector partner related to urban development group, President Albert Milo, for bringing about this impressive transformation. Thank you very much.
I don't know what my situation is with related. I can't get a direct answer. No one knows. You
There's
probably in
something
the middle of that
about
complex. That's what I'm.
inflammation in the body that makes it hard to sleep at night.
Person that we call is Aaron. Aaron
Yeah,
looks like
I have a real
Aaron,
tough time
but Aaron's
sleeping.
not the man.
I could sleep perfectly during the day, but I can't sleep. I know when I don't sleep because I have pain.
This was a plan that
So
really
it's hard.
they're talking about all the right things. So often,
the whole 10
care of the people, not gonna have lights, you're not gonna have any place of that. Not a single person.
8:47. He's screaming like somebody.
Someone got up on the mic and said, "Oh, no one left the site. Everyone is still here." Like a lot. That whole narrative about folks not being forced to be. There was no force, but there was some kind of like mass exodus that took place. But it was marketed as no situation.
See, he just left the job.
And it makes it headlines. It's a bunch of lip service. It feels like
About 3, 4 o'clock. He went back up. It's about 7.
Aaron is in his feelings. Mhm.
I like him. Because he looked, he saw, he evolved.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he was integral to like the breakdown of the community. He screwed them all up.
And well, you see, the movie ends with him,
Let's welcome our
and
private
he's in
justice
tears.
panel,
He's hurt.
who has been at the front of the climate justice movement here in Miami. Valencia Gunda went
Like
from
my
0
complaint to the
100
director
in 10
was that
seconds.
she wanted to have the word
She's now a sought
climate
after speaker around
gentrification
the country.
because
When
it's
I'm a part of
sexy
the
to don't.
conversations, oftentimes
And because of
focused
that,
on the
she took
infrastructure,
away
the
from really
roads,
crumbling the
water,
path
things like that. But
with
other
what was
things that
happening
was
to public
happening
housing.
in our community that people not paying
So she
attention
keeps
to
trying
when
to
it
push
came
you
to
into the
buildings.
direction of public
I live in
of
Liberty City.
gentrification
And we're starting to see
and climate.
developers who normally
But
only
what drives
build
the
in Miami
story
Beach
is the
coming in
destruction
and
of
buying
public
up blocks
housing.
at a time and fighting over
But
public
that's not
housing
sexy.
projects. In our communities, they deal with a lot of social ills. They don't have access to resources to
It
relocate.
comes out
The
from
only
the
thing they can
mouths.
do is
What did we do?
And a lot of this land gets turned into
When we
things
look
like
at what
public
we
houses
have,
and
you
malls,
see what they
things
have.
that we really don't need in our community. We
Yeah.
have a long history
It
in this
was worse
country,
than where they started.
unfortunately, of making it so that when we are faced with
Cheap
climate change,
materials.
if there is something to be sacrificed, that the people who are
In
paying the
6
brunt
months,
of that
a brand
sacrifice
new joint.
are communities of color.
6
Breaking
months.
down.
Okay. You can't clean shit if you don't want to touch it. And oftentimes we think because they live in a certain area, a certain
They
way, or
thought
they
this
live a
was
certain way,
sexy.
or they dress a certain way, that we can help them from where we are.
It's that mom and the kids.
Yeah.
It's those
Climate
houses.
justice is racial
It's the
justice.
homes being destroyed.
And I think they started out with 140, 150 families.
Our government will invest millions to make our communities resilient, right? But they will usher in development to get us this place.
That's when it was first built.
Yeah.
We need to bring the
They
underserved
kept shrinking it.
to the top of the conversation.
South Florida is trying to dry out this morning. People
I think
still
on the
dealing with
street side
several
of
inches
Miami.
of water in front of their homes. Some neighbors told us it's the worst flooding they've seen in decades. They avoid several pump trucks.
I look in the home, sleep rust. I stress them out.
Yeah, a lot of people took the Section 8 vouchers and are leaving.
Give me a voucher, I'll leave.
You're gonna regret that in a few minutes.
Trying to find somewhere better, but
Nah,
with
I'm
7
on
children
the
and trying to maintain a Miami-Dade County rent rate, I couldn't do it.
There's
The
not
area
enough for
that I was
vouchers.
looking into the mover to were just as dangerous as there.
The voucher's not working.
There's nothing available for
And then I
vouchers.
did want to move my
We're the most
children from
discriminated
Vagabond
against,
instead of
discriminated
actually caring
against
about the
program.
children.
So you get the voucher and you end up homeless.
So where you gonna go?
Because they're not taking the vouchers in the new developments.
No. Unless they're forced to by the government and the financing.
Voucher.
They don't have to.
The hardest issue I have right now is people come to me, could you help me find a place? I got a voucher.
Right.
City helps.
Which is a program only of the administration. It could be over the next mayor.
Well, this is the kicker. NYCHA's already training people in the city fabs, Section 8, all these other venues that are being used as an offer to housing. However, who's going to take those vouchers?
After work advantage, no landlord wants to take it. Other than the baby.
Private industry,
They're not required to take it, but even the law is there, they don't do it.
The parents are still bringing it.
It is said that part of the original speech, I Have a Dream on the March of Washington, was written right in the room, right in the back over there. So you guys are in a historic place, and today you also are making history.
When I look at you in those roles, you give me hope. You give me hope for my future because I can look at you and see that there are leaders sitting over there. Let me tell you something. These kids are our future, and we really got to believe that. You got to put these children first. You really do.
We want to see our kids go to high school. We want to see them go to college. We want to see them pick careers, make something of themselves. We want them to be used to being successful.
Joshua Thomas Kinley, on the roll.
He's such a cutie.
Oh, that's the lady's son.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was looking sad, and the mother kept telling him, I know what you think.
And she got 6 kids.
She was stuck.
They're getting ready.
This shit right here.
Bold.
The rightful treatment of all our animals here in Miami-Dade County.
That was a spit in the face.
Today, we're opening this 7,000 square foot clinic.
It basically says the dog needs more than
The dogs and the cats are more valuable.
Herman, where they gonna take the dogs though?
Applying for this land to actually build our school.
You know they need to seize all those pit bulls.
And they told me that
They needed an ASPCA.
I understood that
Look at his
they have
face,
to get
yo.
ready for the new residents. That's going to be
That's
type
the
of
story.
animals, cats and dogs.
And this poor woman here is fighting so hard and has been for
And getting
But
nothing.
look what they got.
I need this link.
She even tried to buy the land.
You can't watch it unless you have my password. So you need Ramona.
No, come to my house and watch it for
I mean,
free.
yeah, because you recorded it immediately. She recorded it from PBS's screen, bro. Yes.
It's not about.
Are you gonna give me a screening for the South Bronx?
Because somebody brings forward change, you
No, I want
eliminate
you
the
to
problem.
work on it because you need to be in it.
I'm gonna come.
We have a lot of issues.
I swear to my mother.
Education is the key.
I need this.
But we're over here making a change in our community. Never got a contract saying that we'll be able to go back. Everybody can make promises. Everybody makes promises. We're standing by.
I don't care where it is. As long as it's popcorn.
Okay.
And we even bring the bingo prices, bro.
Yes. This ain't a good day. I'm just tired. I am tired. I already done cried. I done did everything. I
Where the black guy at? Where that boy at?
Oh, you'll be right. Trust me.
He's in the corner crying.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
The guy that they put up front that said he's
It
a
ends with him
they
in
can do
tears.
no better than they can. You understand? Half our people have records and stuff like that, but that's not exact. They're building private prisons for them. They're making money. Yeah. I'm tired too, but I'm not gonna give up.
So he has no credibility.
No.
They call them an Uncle Tom.
House?
Mm-hmm.
This is the last workshop.
They get washes and
Some
dryers.
of you are going to
I got something for you with the washer and dryer situation.
there are 8 people who are going to be moving within the next week. Yes, it's here. It sounds like it was far away, but it's here. You know, this is not
take some time and some getting used to. So we want to try to change our mindset. You're gonna be keying people in. You have
You hear that?
360-degree cameras in your hallway, in front of your door.
You're gonna be clean people.
Trust me, they're gonna see everything going, every single thing. If you have a picnic area and you have
So
a
they dirty now?
area, you have to smoke 25 feet away from the building.
Yo, and they send your own people in to demoralize you.
It's acceptable. Because you said it, not somebody else.
That's why I always get in trouble.
Same shit been happening for centuries.
That shit. Who's that?
Housing associate.
Right.
The what?
Like a housing assistant that works for the company, for related.
She a white girl?
Yeah, the white girl.
Pregnant white girl. They sent her in there. Because if y'all hit her or yell at her.
Don't that look like the lady from Mitchell Houses that does the MAP program?
What's her name?
Right?
Yeah.
Every time I see that, I'm like, that's that lady from. You know how expensive bathtubs are? It's not cheap. We don't deserve to soak. These kids are so cute, man.
Aren't they cute? And they're so well behaved too.
Come on, give me up.
And so respectful.
I mean, you gotta give it to the mama.
Yeah,
And the first thing I said, that she got 6 kids, and then when I watched it, her sons are responsible,
Yeah.
daughters are just loving children. She's doing something right. And if you think because you're poor that you can't raise decent children, that's not true.
I mean, she cleaning as she's leaving,
Yes,
but they're telling them you're about to be clean now.
right. And that's just a slap in the face.
Yes, this is your item, so you can chop, you can save, it's storage, and store things.
She breaks my heart too.
Yeah.
More free. Yes or no?
Oh. My Lord. Say no, you should
He looked at her like, what you doing in her house?
He's so happy.
Get his own room?
Yo, but look at the windowsill. It's beat up.
Because their sink used to leak in the bottom. I got electric tape on mine.
She's just happy that her children got rooms.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You settle for less.
Yeah, that's what I do.
But that hurt me because I hang my clothes on our balcony.
Right.
So when I see her like holding that clothespin, I'm like,
That's
yo.
history.
Yeah, man.
You just something new. It's a new place. I was like that too. You can't believe the kids.
She by herself or she got
She by herself.
Happy I'm here, but
But she didn't feel alone, right, before.
Right.
Have a great day. You have a blessed day. You as well. Thank you so much. Enjoy your home. I'll try.
Good job, baby.
She's giving out what she got, Cassandra.
Just wait.
Look at them get.
And keep him in the pen.
clothes, one.
What's that? Sing, right?
And it's mixed. So you're gonna have people that are paying up here, and they don't want the little kids, baby, and their kids downstairs, 10 and 11 o'clock at night.
Everybody know about baby.
You're changing the lifestyle of a group of individuals.
Who kids are these? Get these kids out of here. Get these kids. Jamaica.
We can't have anything.
Do you live here? That's what I was asking you. How do
Right, but they always feel like they're being, big brother's always.
Keep telling you to stop asking for them damn cameras.
In the bus stop in front of
I said, I'm going to go to Gun Hill. Mr. Hall got cameras in every camera.
We find ways to management
Go to
to
the
make everyone
bathroom
feel
without a
it's
camera being on.
a comfortable space and make it a comfortable space for everybody.
So many blind spots.
And security.
On top of them cameras.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see the blind spots. I
It's just
see
a
the
matter of
cameras though.
ignorance and not by design.
Place for everyone.
And the thing is, like, when he says that, I'm like, you've been doing this now since 1990. Ignorance is no longer a reason.
Right. You should already know the setup.
Management doesn't know how to deal with it. Your job is to manage the property, secure the property, make sure units get fixed by the time you order, but you're doing none of that.
What she's telling
Just
Look at it.
Wow.
At first, it was just a bucket to catch the water. So when we had the new tropical storm, it started to pour down. First, this side, this side, she said, no, mommy, it's both sides. Then the other side opened up again.
She ain't been there.
6 months.
Right. She ain't been there 2 days.
I'm really worried about what will happen with the next hurricane.
Kansas.
Look at all that patching.
Yeah. Wow. That's 6 months.
Just management make everybody afraid. It's quiet around here. I miss the people.
I have families that I'm still in contact with. One moved out of town completely with the Section 8 voucher. Another family moved to a black neighborhood down south. And then one family that got dispersed. No one's coming back. No ma'am. Just how much of our community will be around?
You can skip this whole section.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been the cut. This should have all been cut out.
Yeah.
Housewarming, I wanted to do an open house.
How people come in the house, they don't know who they is.
It's an open house.
Just to get a gift.
No, she didn't want gifts. She just wanted the neighbors to know who she was. And they wanted to highlight ownership for it, because unless we own something, we're not worthy in America.
So out of all of y'all, she got a house.
I own my phone.
When our eldest
And
was
she
across
bought
the
it close.
street, she was like, I thought some white people was buying it. But my husband, it's on. It inspired me to want to do more for my own home. It's like a beacon in the neighborhood.
I'm so glad to see this.
And it's beautiful.
I hope she don't go nowhere soon.
Yeah, I made it forever.
Guess your house gonna be vandalized on the regular.
So she bought the mansion to the hood.
Yes.
Yes.
Until I leave the earth.
That would be me.
And you have some other residents in the report saying no. For example, my city barbershop,
He would not sell because these little orange barbershops sitting right in the middle of all of this gentrification.
You know the little building down by Bankside, the piano building.
Yes, exactly.
We ain't selling.
Yeah, hold on.
Yep. You're gonna have to build
I
around them.
realized that Related was not gonna fulfill their obligations.
Wait, the same lady from here?
Oh,
To lose it based on
now you see why I started a partnership with them.
I know how to wipe plants. I know
Look
how to
at
do other
you.
things to survive.
See, right? If usually I throw toys or candy,
Right.
you would got candy for that one.
And they gave them land.
Oh shit.
What was the question?
Is that the same Related?
The same related that's Chelsea, and there's all the building all around here.
Same Related.
But 5 stories is the max. This is a time of war at this point. And I'm a warrior.
Oh, I'm a little slow. I've been downtown all day. You talking about same related.
Related properties. Our landlord. This the landlord for the.
There was a point where
And the one that wants to demolish Fulton Chelsea. Same company.
It's the same company?
Yeah.
It's
the same company.
Everything
Wow.
from here all the way down.
I didn't know that.
Owns
The company.
Yep, owns Times Square property. Owns
Same company.
There are a lot of property.
luxury.
I
They
didn't
build
know
luxury.
they were
Related
doing
Northeast, and then that's Related South.
When you think about it in the day, like, all right,
The
these are both
franchises.
This is where he comes to the
conditions that are now-
final realization.
But it's unfortunate that we couldn't be creative enough to find a way to kind of not just put it in affordable housing.
And what's
build
wild
it
is,
up,
right, that was there
continue to replicate the same old same.
from day one, and look how little patching they had to do to the outside.
We're trying to bring folks back into the community.
They didn't have any water
What are we
damage,
trying to
like
create?
ever at Liberty City, because it's built like our public housing. So that's still standing.
So that's quality in the building.
We're real steel with cement. Wasn't that cheap? Powdered down, watered down cement that they use in there.
And sheetrock.
Yeah, she rocked it for days.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the part that gets you in the end. It's the only time.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh sorry. What did they get different?
Okay.
Yeah. 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 He left the house.
Yeah.
He left the house.
He went back to the field.
He went back to the field.
Okay.
Like all of that shit on Valencia's house, unnecessary.
And she's a good mama.
The son has a lot of stress.
National Hurricane Center has just issued its
He's
latest
the man of
advisory
the
and
house.
has
Yeah.
all signs point to this being in danger.
But he's such a good boy.
Like so many other houses.
The governor is also
Piss me off. I don't want to watch it happen.
It's over.
This is the end. That's like I love saying this. We 38 feet above sea level. We will never flood out.
Bible says it. The Bible tell you. Be like the wise man, build your house on the rock.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Wow.
Yeah, she's one of them.
You see why when we're so angry?
Yeah. It's like what the fuck? I'm sorry. Oh Lord. It's like
Literally.
yeah.
Sandra.
Oh. And people raise all these arguments around it and justify
Because
it.
they think a little bit of authority
And
and
I'm sitting there
then
like, don't believe the hype.
So, Mr. Jordan,
Mr. Chairman.
we have to get to space.
Do you want to? So, what you want, the hospital? Or you want the? Are you trying? Are you?
I think
Granola.
Doesn't even have like audio. So maybe it should be like.
It's trying to make you look bad, right?
Yeah, yep, all of them, yep.
Trying to make you look bad.
Oh, what's this?
Granola, and that's nuts.
They said it sat down a couple weeks ago. They said it wasn't, project sat down a while ago.
So, Mr. Chairman, before we move forward, I think that our guest is ready to answer any questions that we have about the movie, right, or anything else.
Yeah, I can just share what I know. So I know that Samantha, the mother of 7, her eldest son, he recently graduated from honors in high school, so he's doing really well. And then Samantha is currently running for resident council. When she ran, there was an issue with her running, and if there were some shady things going on, so she's gonna have to run again. It's because she's getting so much attention from the film, and she's an advocate. She speaks up about everything, and she uses her power from the film to get things done, not only for her own apartment, which has issues consistently, but for others. And so she finds that that's what's pushing her back from becoming elected, because she's advocating. And then the last person that we have information for is Samantha Q, the principal. Still has not received a contract from Related. She's still fighting to do the best that she can, but she has rented a hub where she's not only supporting kids, she's just supporting elders and adults, because it's so much bigger now than just the kids. So everybody's just really fighting hard, and they're using the strength of this film to make a difference. But the film is doing really well, and it's starting to put pressure on, Miami-Dade, and also the mayor, and also public housing. So it's going. A lot of people still haven't seen this film. So I think every time somebody does, they feel like, okay, change can happen. But that's basically the majority of the information that I received from the film team, because there's so many people that watch the movie. They want to know, well, what's going on? They're still working on Liberty Square. They have not even completed all of the different sections yet.
And they're going to be doing that for a long time.
So it was once on PBS. So PBS has the rights to this film besides the film team. So you
That's
can
where I got
pay to watch it on PBS. Otherwise, it's not free online anymore. They had it free up until August, I believe. And then, and now if you want to see, you have to do PBS.
They'll probably run it back again.
You have to find a community partner like Ramona or myself, anybody all across.
Or somebody like me who taped it.
Yeah.
So one thing I'll add from like the Save Section 9 perspective, right? Like our organization works nationally to try to bring attention to the dangers of privatizing public housing. And we started working with the film team because the Related company that you see on the film is the same company that is leading the demolition of Fulton, Elliott, and Chelsea. So they've tried to distance themselves, saying that they're not the same company, but it is. Another thing that's important to know is after the tenants moved in, we noted like the washer and the dryers, right, as like this incentive that like makes living there supposedly more comfortable. What ended up happening is because Section 8 project-based, which is what they throw at you when you leave public housing, it actually fluctuates. It's not tied to your income. So while public housing is tied to your income and your rent is 30%, Section 8 project-based can fluctuate, and a developer can add amenities. So the amenities of the washer and the dryer actually led to a $60 additional charge a month.
And
so
when you're true that they can also go up as high as 40% of your income.
Yeah. So they're not linked to 30%. They can go up to 40% of your income, but amenities are an additional cost.
Yeah.
So when you look at folks that are on disability or that are elder and are living on a pension, you have a limited income, right? You are on a fixed income. So $60 a month becomes very prohibitive to them. And a lot of the elders started facing the situation of like, am I going to buy my prescriptions or do I pay for my washer and my dryer? So we've been trying to do screenings. We've shown it to Texas, to Chicago, and here in New York. We have the link for it, and we can screen it. And we're actually working to get them to give us the one with Chinese subtitles, because we have such a growing population of Chinese tenants in public housing. But we already have one that has the Spanish subtitles. So Danny is going to work with CB1 to get a modern space so that we can finally do this forum that Pat has wanted for years. One other thing that I'll share is the bingo sheet. So we created this because most of the times when we go into the development, we're going in to speak to the elderly population, and it's hard to get them to understand the risks, but they are the ones that are most preyed on. So those of you that are in tenant leader positions really should be paying attention to, like, when your elders go into the centers to get help with signing their recertification. A lot of times they're being switched. In Texas, this is happening a lot, where they're switching them from Section 9 to project-based Section 8 without them understanding the consequences. At Boston Secor here in the Bronx, that has already started. So we try at Safe Section 9 to educate and activate. So when we see that there's a pattern, so Wavecrest Management, Related, and other few companies, we know when they come into a development, they're going to try to do the same things. So they set up a lease signing space, and everyone is told you need to go to these apartments and, like, read the lease and sign it. It's not final, but it is final, and you're basically accepting that your development be taken out of public housing. Right. So in the national fight, right, towards saving, rehabilitating, and expanding public housing, the first piece is to make sure that we maintain Section 9, because we can't fight for the funding to rehabilitate public housing if we all disappear. Right. So this is super dangerous. I think the South Bronx has been in a really comfortable position, because when they've tried to come up to the South Bronx, a lot of the leaders here already understand that this is a no-go and have pushed back, or we've personally kicked HUD out of our developments. Yeah. But your tenants need to understand, right? So we have the flyers, we have the tools, we have the film, we have the subtitles. There's a team at Safe Section 9 that now just does the film screenings virtually or in person, all volunteers. And then Eileen's, like, out in Queens and Brooklyn, also as, like, a partner. One thing I was saying earlier is there are organizations that come into public housing that say that they want to, save public housing. But the language and the goals of their campaigns are linked to funding or to their own values, right? So SICA is an organization that has decided not to become a part of Safe Section 9 because they don't want to go into contentious spaces. And every development that's a fight is contentious. So in addition to that, they push for resident management. Yeah. And they push for a resident management that takes us out of Section 9 public housing. So ideally, folks would have an opportunity to pursue resident management, right? But it shouldn't be done as an answer to the problem of privatization, because you're privatizing your development and we're not ready as a collective yet to do resident management.
And can I add something?
Yes.
Section 9, the idea of being trained by HUD is a possibility with Section 9. They make it sound like Section 8 is the only avenue in which to have resident management, but that is not true. You can be trained under Section 9 for resident management. Will NYCHA do it? No. So now the point is addressing HUD and seeing it. How can we get this started where we can be trained by HUD themselves under Section 9? But this is all a money thing. You already know. It's all about money, and not our money, but the money that they're going to make off of us.
No.
It's scary.
When the tenant, go ahead.
Has there ever been a council meeting, just like collecting, having all of the local politicians watch this film? Has that happened yet?
So we shopped it to Alexa Aviles to host it, and then to Diana Ayala.
Are they, I'm sorry, are they like
so Alexa is progressive from Brooklyn, and she was the chair of the housing, public housing committee at City Council. Chris Banks is a lot more conservative. So we put out the ask to have someone in City Council do the screening. but we have done private screenings for people in Congress.
So what I found with Chris Banks out in Brooklyn is that, you know, this is a safe space. I'm just going to speak comfortably here. Is that yes, he's passionate.
Hold on.
Because
it's live.
Well, I'm fine. I think this is
Okay.
actually important because what I find is that when we have done screenings, not with him per se, but when we've done screenings with local politicians, what's interesting is they will show up for the beginning of the screening,
and they leave,
say a few words, and then leave. And the residents are like, well, who's going to answer our questions? So that I find has, like if any other, if we do this in the future, this cannot happen. If you're going to show up, you have to stay. And or it's better that you actually don't show up. And not to be rude, it's because the situation is so dire. And this is not a photo op. Not this.
Right.
Now with Chris Banks, I think that he is very passionate. I have seen him shown up, but I also in the same breath have been trying to do a screening with him. And I think what his team is waiting for is for me to find the venue. But what I find is that I have to do a lot more work. But if you would actually make one phone call because of your name, you would get the venue. Versus me, I'm gonna be on hold, back and forth, pulling teeth, and that's where I am with Chris Banks, because I don't think there has yet been a screening from my knowledge in East New York yet, and it's so due simply because
they're all being targeted.
So passionate about saving Section 9.
And his district is being targeted aggressively. So one of the things that we realize is that a lot of the elected officials don't want to watch the film with tenants. Right. So they feel like they need a safe space. So when we've done screenings in Congress, we do it with the staff and the elected official so that they can ask the questions and process it. We also tried to do it at the halls of Congress and the mayor of Miami. So backstory to the film also is important, that in Miami, the HUD office, the mayor's office, and all the regional elected people try to stop the film from premiering. So they came up to New York and we were their partner for the premiere in New York, because here, we just don't give a shit. So we were like, go ahead, threaten us. So we debuted it here, but the mayor is now their congressperson. So when we went to Congress, Nicole Malatakis had done some work to prepare for the screening for us in March. And because of this, the mayor now being a congressperson, it got pulled and they couldn't host it. Because he too is a Republican.
So this must be a campaign from the people.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
So I think we can show it to them, first, and ensure that they know the how big of an issue this is. And then, one of the things that we've told the team is climate gentrification sounds very sexy, right? So I was telling you guys, that's a really cute term. And I'm sure that it brought a lot of funding. But what is driving this film and the beauty of this film is the public housing. It's the public housing families, right? So when you sit there and we're screening this and we're watching a scene of someone buy a home, it reinforces this message that Black and brown people are not worthy unless they own a home, right? Because that's the focus. It's for her to be able to show off this house. And that does nothing to push forward the story or the activism for the film.
Well, and let's not forget the climate gentrification. It's already here.
Yeah.
You find that many that out in the suburbs, up Westchester County and further up north, in Jersey, Connecticut, to own a home is costing them more than they thought it would.
I mean, the last FEMA report that we got states that the communities most vulnerable to climate change are those existing in public housing and on subsidies. So we will be the front, right? If you look at New York's public housing, we are going to take the brunt of rising waters. So nationally, this is the case. So they could have followed, climate gentrification as a story, but they made this choice to include this other storyline that doesn't contribute to the impact that the film can have. So I tend to skip that part.
There's one nice development that I showed this film out that this reflected their story a lot, and it was Red Hook. Red Hook is right by the water. When they watch this film, this hit them hard.
Well,
Because
look-
they're currently dealing with like they're changing the infrastructure. They're surrounded by IKEA, Amazon.
Did you see how they're gated in?
Yeah. Oh, in the film?
No, Red Hook.
Oh, Red Hook. You know, Red Hook is such a special place that I also had to learn there's like the East and the West.
Yeah.
There's two separate ones, two separate tenants association
Yep.
presidents.
Yeah.
It was very fascinating.
And very
but
different values at
very
those two
different.
tenant associations.
Yeah,
I've never
they're
been to
hit-
their meetings, but it's really interesting to see. They're like two inner cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The West Side and the East Side.
Yeah.
They have a strong tenants president there that I was able to meet. But the climate change there, that was I was seeing it. When it rains,
Yeah.
it rains, and it really impacts a lot of things.
Coney Island, they're another one. All of them that are all close to the sea.
Did
They're
you,
at the ocean.
did you
they're at
do
the sea.
Coney Island and
No,
you
not
didn't do
yet.
Surfside?
Yes.
None of them.
And we know they've been hit
O'Dwyer.
during hurricane. Not yet.
So yeah, like what they've
Oh,
done
Dwyer,
out there.
didn't they have to reinforce the foundation wall?
Yeah, what they did was
Yeah.
they took their boiler rooms and they built these brick
Seawalls.
outhouses, and they put them like they sit like literally about this high off of the ground. They were on concrete bollards that are like real big, and it's the foundation
To save
for
them from
this
water
house
damage.
that's sitting about 5 stories in the air and whatnot with the boiler and all of
Because
that.
they figured out
equipment.
after Jacob Reese that if you put it on the roof without fixing the roof,
Right.
roof is going to cave in. So that's what's happening at Jacob Reese.
It's not funny.
It's
because
not. It's just.
It's
but that's
really frightening that so little can be said for how they feel about us, because they feel. I get the feeling that they feel that we have no sense of value and no sense of normalcy in our lives, that we can't see the forest from the trees, kind of thing. If you tell me that you're coming in and you want to make these changes, but you're going to bring in materials that are subnormally based, or they're rotten, the sheetrock is sheetrock, city here. You're going to bring in appliances that could not be sold to the general public. So because you're buying in bulk, you got a great deal. And some people have never had anything in their lives. Some come from shelters, and before the shelter, they're the street. So when they see these things, they say, "Wow, I got something
so
brand
shiny.
new." And it's a shame, but they accept that easily. And these money people, they know that. I went to an event where a politician that used to be my councilman was praised by developers and bankers. Really, he was praised. They were actually doing this when he got up on the stage, because he has given them an open door to the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Serious. You still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't say it. Wait till you stop it, and I'll tell you who it is.
All you got to do is put like Bronx council member broker.
Yeah.
It comes up.
He was rated
So-
number 4 in New York State as a
So
developer.
when we screen the film, we also push tenants towards actions, right? So like our toolkit is the demands and then the petition. The petition is a national petition, which you guys know I email it like every week. Well, Ashley emails it out every week. And then the national solutions are really proposals, policy proposals that we send to Congress, right? So it's not just about having this conversation, it's about tenants taking that ownership and being ready, because what happened at, what's the one in Brooklyn that said no, that voted no to the trust?
Coney Island.
Coney Island houses, the reason they voted no on the trust is because we started pushing NYCHA, like you got to explain Section 9 to people, right? You have to let people know that there are other paths to get repairs. And the trust is not that attractive when you find that out. So
It's a
really,
fact.
as leaders, like you guys have the ability to say, like, this is what will happen to you. This is what happened in Chicago. It's what's happening across the country, and it is happening in New York. Every single day, we lose a development. So you guys have the opportunity to use these resources and use these toolkits to make sure that that doesn't happen.
What about high schools? Has this been shown in high schools or universities yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, and I open that to everybody because that's something that I found was interesting is that when we do these screenings, it's generally
elders.
Older
Yeah.
people. And another thing that I found was interesting that when the youth are not involved, it's as if it's not their problem, but
Yeah.
it is because you will take over this apartment. Grandma maybe.
That's a really good point.
So I was just like, oh wow. And then
Yeah.
I would just be curious to know, you know, if we show this to seniors or even during like Earth Day, because I know this is going to be a long process. Like,
Yeah.
what month is like public housing month or like celebrate climate change? Because we have to find a month so we can get into the
Family
school
days.
and show it.
Yeah, but the thing is, family days aren't conductive. Like, you know, we do tabling at family days. We do the petition at family days. But like the conversation that comes out of this is on a much deeper level. Like I know at one point, this one leader was talking to me about how they wanted to stop having family days and they wanted to have a forum instead. Right? Because it's like having family days, it gives you an opportunity to like coexist and relax. But we already are way too relaxed when it comes to this issue. And our kids are definitely not getting involved.
So I was wondering, maybe like
That could be a really
tap
good
into the like and principals. God bless them.
Yeah.
They have so much on their plate. So I know, like, because I've worked with a lot of schools before, so it's like generally you have to find a teacher, maybe a history teacher or an economics teacher, and say like, we'd like to share this to your students. But I wouldn't mind going down that path with the group in here, because I'd be really curious because I find that when the kids are interested, they go home and they talk to their parents or their grandparents about it. They're like, you know, did you know that this was happening? And my last question is there a parade, like a march to like save public housing? Does that happen? Or has that happened? Save public housing march?
So we were working on a national day of public housing.
African American parade. That's the closest we've come thus far.
But nothing yet on just like public
No,
housing.
so Congressman Goldman wanted to do a national day of public housing with us. So then we were working with like the museum, the National Museum for Public Housing in Chicago, where they would like curate an exhibit and then we could show the film ongoing in Congress, right? Because it's a whole day, so one person can't stop it. But yeah, we don't have like a national day of reckoning. But the National Day of Public Housing, we're trying to schedule it for the fall so that folks go down to DC and then continue like finish out lobbying, but then also like announce like what are the bills that are being introduced to save public housing. So like the Inflation Reduction Act, we asked them to put money in there for climate protection. So like in that big bill that Biden put out, there's funding in there for public housing that NYCHA and other housing authorities can tap into if they have a development that's at risk of climate change. But we're waiting to figure out. Well, I asked to get like info on like the details. But yeah, I think high schoolers would be great. I mean, the education committee in this CB1 might be able to take that on. And we have so many damn charters. You don't even have to go through like the regular like DOE, because at this point we're running out of public schools in the Bronx. That should be the next document.
You would never know
Charter
because
schools.
they were in front of the new school on St. Anne's Avenue. On News 12, they were like, "This is the greatest thing since peanut butter
Oh
and
yeah,
jelly."
yeah. Like we've never had bathrooms in high schools. That's really how the charter schools present themselves. So I think the education committee could definitely look into like doing screenings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just love the conversations that come up, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this. And when you see the kids in the film, you're
Those
like,
kids,
this
man.
This is all about you. This is you. So yeah.
That little boy.
You want to go to college? Do you think he want to go to college?
Oh yeah, no, he's doing really well. Like, all of her kids are exceptional.
Yeah.
She's like most of them are all in honors. All of her kids.
That's the first thing I thought about. She's an excellent mother.
Oh, she's
whatever
she's
she's
a
doing,
firecracker.
she's doing it right. Because even the baby is
I'm
smart
going to
enough to
Miami,
know.
I'm gonna find them fast. I'm
One
going
more
to Miami.
question that I had is during these screenings that I find some residents that are just a lot of residents that just learned some new vocabulary, which is Section 9 and Section 8.
Yeah.
Which they've been living in public housing.
For years.
And they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, wow. So decisions are being made on behalf of people, and they don't have all the information laid out for them, which I think is the most frightening thing. It's just like, just the not knowing is what private companies would love. Just you don't know. But the bigger thing that they ask, the folks that are aware of Section 8, Section 9, they ask, but then how come, and I don't understand either, how come NYCHA has not paid for all these reparations, like all these things that need to be repaired? Why are we in a situation now where we're looking to private companies? And I don't know how to answer that question. I'm always there to listen, but is there a reason? Is there money in NYCHA?
Misappropriation of monies, funds are used the wrong way and whatnot.
Yeah. And at this point, it's about making money.
So
they've divided it now into 3 sections. So that where they can make monies with these management corporations, because they own the land. So they're always going to get paid.
So I think a good way to present it to tenants is NYCHA chose to pursue project-based Section 8 with them keeping the responsibility for the recertification and most of resident engagement. So that means that NYCHA continues to appropriate itself funding from the public housing pot, but is using it to do the work that the developer and the new management company should be doing. You see that light bulb? So other housing authorities, when they were all instructed, there was an order given out, like, you guys need to start getting rid of public housing. Other housing authorities said, okay, well, we need to start getting rid of it. We're going to shed all responsibility. NYCHA decided to create a real estate development team. Right. And that real estate development team now works as a broker for the land to bring in the management company and the development firm. But at the same time, NYCHA still has employees doing recertifications and doing the executive management, right? So like the trust is this beautiful thing that allows them to keep doing recertifications, keep tapping into the taxes, and keep money funneling into public housing authority. So it's a land grab, and it's a way that NYCHA has beautifully created 3 different levels of funding that continue to come to them without them having to do the work of administering housing. And the key to that is the fact that they continue to do the recertifications, because they have to continue to populate and document and hold accountable and verify. The developers and the management company, WavePress doesn't do that. It's a NYCHA person that continues to do that.
Right.
So that's why they've shifted their operations to match a new way to like break down employees. And now it's about revenue generation for the holders or the board of the trust.
And then NYCHA uses this particular language. We reserve the right.
Yes.
We reserve the right to be able to get rid of the management team if they are not
compliant,
effective, or conducive to the residents.
And you look at the CEO, she herself.
But you were going to say something, Eileen, because I want to make sure, like, when you're out there, that you're empowered.
This is frightening, because when I think, I'm not sure, but I researched once a long time ago, there's maybe over 390 developments in New York City.
Yeah.
If this happens, if this domino effect happens, just like in the movie, when you shake things up, the people will rebel, they'll act out as they should, but they'll do it in their own community. And I'm thinking to myself, that would be the worst thing to happen in New York City's history.
Yes.
If NYCHA falls, you're going to have thousands of families, and it's going to be explosive.
Yeah.
And nobody wins.
Yeah.
Nobody wins. We are more than the majority of the people in this city. It would be the most devastating thing to happen in New York City. But it seems to be happening in small increments. So these fires, but if it topples over with Fulton and Chelsea, which seems to be the two, like if this happens to them, it almost happens to all.
Everyone, yeah.
It's so scary and frightening, and you can see it. That's the thing, like you can see it in our lifetime.
And you're also like, if you look at the developments that they're choosing, they are offering to the developers, to a closed list of preferred companies. They are offering them the highest revenue generating plots. So if we were to look at all of NYCHA's portfolio, all of the developments that they represent should be at the top for privatization and rehabilitation, but they're not. Based on the what is it when they come out and they do the no, when they come to the developments and they do the inspections, based on inspections and the physical needs assessments, the South Bronx should be
the top
number one.
Nah.
It's not based on physical needs assessment. So we did a huge study of their physical needs assessment, and we were able to prove with data that they are actually offering to the developers the land that is most valuable. Right? So that tells you that this is not about improving quality of life. This is about generating a certain amount of income for NYCHA and for the developers.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I stay angry.
And did you see the gentleman in the movie, the one that worked for the company?
Aaron.
Mr. Aaron?
Yeah.
So
we always got an Aaron at every development.
There's Aarons at every development.
Oh, they believe they're gonna make change, but
And this is what the system does. NYCHA and everybody involved. What they do is they take
people that look like us.
I gotta just say,
Skin
I'm
folk.
sorry. I can't. This is me. They send the black man to the angry black man to calm him down.
And to the women.
And to the women, they send the sister girl that bought the house in the middle and whatnot and did the open house to show everybody you can do this too. But in all honesty,
So why keep fighting for public housing?
in all actuality, that's the cop out. That's the sellout. Public housing gave me a home when we was displaced in 1972, when they kicked us out of Morris Avenue, where we were 15 black and about 40 Hispanic families living amongst the Italians. We were displaced to build Christopher Court and Maria Lopez.
I moved in Christopher Court.
Christopher Court and Maria Lopez, we were displaced. Pope came in 72, blessed the ground. I'm the little boy that he pat on the head,
and I'm the one he was in the newspaper with.
So it's like we went from there directly to public housing.
And like one thing I want to add is like the list that each housing authority chooses, right? They have a short list of bidders. So we've been going hard at Fulton and Chelsea, but that same black man who is Essence Development and is the subcontractor, right? So Related would not win this bid without a black-owned company, because that's one of the requirements for a federal institution, right? So you have to have a minority-owned business to compete for the bid. So they get a black man to bid with his company, and then they subcontracted Related.
Someone else.
Essence Development is at Vladeck Houses, at Jacob Reese, and at 3 other developments in the Lower East Side, while we're fighting Related and Essence Development at Fulton and Chelsea. So I'm putting out that fire, and at the same time, the Lower East Side is all going to shit.
Yeah.
So their representative, the Chris Marte, he's another good one. He's ready to screen the movie. So we had a great meeting with him. He's like, yeah, I'll show it. I don't care. But then his TA president, right? So the group of representatives is like, nah, we want this. We want Essence and Related. And even when an elected official like Chris Marte is like, no, this is going to be horrible. It's the tenant association that decides. But the tenant association presidents are not aware of the fact that it's Essence and Related coming in to do exactly what they did to Raising Liberty.
Right.
So, and it's a very short list. It's only 10 companies.
So the tenants association decides.
Makes the decision.
How many residents do they have to include?
None.
How is that?
Because as elected officials, you guys are representatives of the body of tenants.
That's so
Because they're elected into office, right? So they are elected representatives. I've never been that.
And in the beginning,
I get that,
they
but
didn't even come to us.
oh, this is so scary because I remember one person came to a screening in Queens, and she's like, I have people in our development that speak not just Spanish, not just Mandarin, Creole, and Arabic. So you mean to tell me you have a TA president, and it's possible. In a perfect world,
a volunteer
would get all of these people to know these languages and to talk.
They're volunteers, though. Don't leave that.
Yeah.
They do not
volunteers.
get paid.
We are volunteers. And let me just give you a heads up. I got a call today from a development out in Brooklyn, and so this is a former TA president who now is watching a current president and has just discovered last week that they are scheduled for PAC. And she said
scheduled for privatization.
She called me hysterical. Yeah. She says, I need any information you can give me about this PAC program. And I got to understand how they could do this, and none of the tenants know about it. There was no meeting.
Yeah, tenants don't find out until they sign the lease.
They put up. Wait a minute. NYCHA put up a flyer. NYCHA put up a flyer announcing that there's going to be a meeting to show them this PAC program. It's a slideshow.
Yeah.
That they send a black woman and a white man and a Hispanic woman.
Yeah.
To do. Everywhere it's shown, and I've been there 3 or 4 different Bronx locations where it was the same combination, and packed with seniors.
Yeah.
Packed with seniors.
Seniors are the most vulnerable.
They are they're the largest grouping of people in NYCHA at this time.
And they're the ones most desperate for repairs.
Yes.
So are you saying that slideshow presentation, that was an example of a successful way to do it?
No, so they have to do a meeting like that 3 times.
It's the idea that they're going to do this, and they haven't told anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so the president hasn't said anything, but they had a heads up. So now the president is saying, well, there's going to be a flyer put up. The next day, there's flyers in every doorknob, saying that they're going to come at this specific date and show this show, the slideshow about PAC and how it works for you with pretty pictures and all of that.
And the people that show up to the meetings are the seniors. And like Cassandra said, they're tired of waiting.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I mean, my building, I this week alone, I've had to submit 3 apartments where the ceiling is falling on top of the seniors as they sleep. One, they took her out of the apartment, her family. And how do I convince someone, right, to hold on, to give me 2 more years so that I can fight for a solution, so I can get some funding, so I can do something, right? That's the daily fight. Jacob Riis, how do I tell someone at Jacob Riis that's being exposed to lead and sulfur and mold, and whose neighbor just had an autopsy and his lungs are full of tar? 20-something-year-old kid, never smoked a cigarette in his life, inhaling the tar from a dormant company, like a coal electricity generating company that used to sit under that land. That's literally coming through that floor of his apartment. That killed him. And so how do I tell his neighbors? Fight for public housing.
You said he got tar on his lungs.
Yeah.
Because of the old existing things that you.
So there's a dormant. Hold on. There's a dormant gas generation company that was covered when Jacob Riis was built.
Right.
When Sandy hit, it disturbed the infrastructure of that coal mine. So that water had to be contained in there, right? So that water could hold in the toxins, but Sandy moved it around.
Mm-hmm.
When they built Jacob Riis, they didn't properly remediate the land. So if you go and do a tour of Jacob Riis, you've got the smoke from the bubbling water now, because it's activated itself, coming up through the sidewalks and through the parking stanchions that they put up.
Yeah.
And when they just went and did an investigation and they did an inspection, the buildings weren't properly sealed. So the basements didn't have proper concrete levels to keep the shit in. So this kid in that building, he died, and his parents demanded an autopsy because he was young and healthy. and just started getting sick. And when they opened up his lungs, the doctor said that his lungs looked like he had smoked for 60 years.
That's the Mahaven campus.
It's Jacob Reese.
That's the Mahaven campus.
Yeah.
Because the Mahaven campus.
So, like, how do I tell his parents fight for public housing, right? How do I tell his elderly neighbor, like the girl that runs the lady? There's an older lady that runs a garden there. Nothing grows anymore. She's moved the garden 3 times. The land is toxic. So I can't go to Jacob Reese and be like, you need to fight for Section 9. I need you to get moved. I need you to get transferred to Fulton Elliott Chelsea, where the apartments are brand fucking new and they don't need to be repaired.
Just look around the corner. Look around the corner. We had meat markets.
Yeah.
That they used to bring the cows. I remember waking up in the morning, the moo cows that were being slaughtered. We had a meat market that ran from Bergen up to St. Anne's. Meat markets. East Coast meat markets, not no little
like meat packing district.
They used to bring in 100 cars, train cars with the goats and the cows and all of that, and slaughtered them. There was so much blood and waste that was soaked into the ground. You know how long it's taken them to build this development here?
Remediation.
With mediation, exactly.
They
what
have to
makes
do
you
it.
think that the ground that they built this joint on is safe? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And that I'm not a scientist. I'm not a professional. I can just tell you that in 1969, when they shut down the meat markets, the ground, if you walked up 1 block, you wound up with fat and blood and meat stuck in the soles of your shoes. 1 block. So what tells you, what makes you say in 20 years of them having that meat, well, maybe 25 years of that meat market being there on Westchester between Bergen and St. Anne's, what makes you think all of that stuff is gone?
It's not.
It's
and this is why they're saying when climate change really hits, these are the places that are going to have the biggest issues.
Yes.
Because it's going to become a complex emergency. So Jacob Reese needs to have everyone moved out and be properly remediated because it was never done properly by the state.
And who do you think is going to spend money and do that? Nobody.
Not this mayor, not this governor.
Where would we put all of the families at Jacob Reese in the meantime?
So one of the things that we're pushing for is going to be to move them in Manhattan.
Okay.
Push them north in Manhattan. Because when they start looking at a development, they start emptying out units. So Fulton Elliott Chelsea, people have been door knocking now since last June. There's a ton of units that are empty.
Where are the people? Where are the families?
They start relocating the seniors.
Okay.
Somewhere else.
Up to par, in the last 2 years, well, since the pandemic,
7,000 units we got empty, right?
We up to 7,000 units that have been empty, and the argument that NYCHA gives is that they don't have the money to fix them. Wow. So where do you think those people are going to go? They're going to ship them to our neighborhoods. That's what they planned on doing, so that they gives the developer downtown, Chelsea Elliott, Fulton, the room to go ahead and build those high rises
and demolish.
No.
This was so uplifting.
Eileen, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming.
So uplifting.
I think you incited eternal flame underneath some people, especially me. You just kicked me in my butt. You just kicked me.
Wow,
that's a good kick.
No, it's like, even with the information, the fact that I'm still not 100% sure, it just goes to show how complex it is. I can't imagine, Ramona, how many years you've been studying this, because I know you understand it, but as you're explaining it to me, I already got lost once you got here, but I'm still listening. But
I just cry a lot
for me, and I speak English. I can't imagine, and I was born here.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
That's super important.
And I'm a first generation American.
And you have advanced education.
So I think about the people that are immigrating here. I think about and the people that that have created this country, and it's so unfair, and it's just
Well,
This is why I keep
I gotta
thinking
say
about
to
the
you,
youth. I'm like, how do we get?
I have to say to you this. It is an honor and a pleasure to meet you. I recorded this production
You guys for Germany
months
keep the
ago
session
in
going.
February, and I watch it occasionally.
Just say adjourn.
So
you could journey.
To make me angry,
adjourn.
mostly.
Hold on,
but I think
meeting's
everybody
adjourned.
needs to see.
I love what you just said. I watched this because I screen it. I've seen this 7 times.